Anticipation was thick enough to choke the room as Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney stepped onto the floor of the National Press Theatre in Ottawa. Facing a packed room of reporters and a blinding sea of flashing cameras, he was flanked by the ambassadors of Japan, South Korea, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Each a silent sentinel representing their nation's stake in a move that was about to dismantle decades of North American economic certainty. In this historic moment, without a single word of advance notice to the White House or its officials, Carney announced that Canada had signed simultaneous energy framework agreements with all four nations, catching the world's superpower completely by surprise. These landmark agreements will redirect over 1.2 million barrels of crude oil per day, along with 900 million cubic feet of natural gas and 600 megawatts of electricity away from the United States within the next 36 months, fundamentally shifting the continent's energy landscape forever. Just 2 weeks ago, Carney had told President Trump that the United States was welcome to compete for Canadian energy on the same terms as everyone else, making it clear that the era of special treatment was over. Today, that competition officially began, sending violent shockwaves through global markets and leaving the United States blindsided and already losing ground. The level of operational security surrounding these negotiations was unprecedented. While the State Department learned of the agreements from a Reuters news alert, sources revealed that Carney had negotiated all four frameworks simultaneously over just 11 days in complete secrecy. Teams from each country were housed in separate facilities under elaborate code names to prevent any intelligence leaks. Japan was Maple East, South Korea was Pacific Bridge, Germany was Northern Light, and the UK was Commonwealth. Remarkably, not a single leak reached the White House, the State Department, the CIA, or the NSA. Within 40 minutes of the announcement, U.S. energy markets entered what Bloomberg called the most volatile trading session since the 2020 oil price collapse. The first agreement with Japan guarantees the export of 450,000 barrels of crude oil per day, starting in 2027, shipped from a new deep water terminal at Prince Rupert, British Columbia. Japan is backing this with an $8.2 billion investment in Canadian infrastructure, viewing Canada as the most reliable energy partner in the world. The second agreement with South Korea redirects 280,000 barrels of crude and 300 million cubic feet of LNG per day, supported by an $11.4 billion facility to be built at Kitimat. The pivot toward Europe is equally devastating for American energy security. Under the third agreement, Germany will receive 400 million cubic feet of natural gas per day via a new terminal in Goldboro, Nova Scotia, in exchange for supporting Canada's bid for a permanent UN Security Council seat. The fourth agreement with the United Kingdom involves an undersea cable from Newfoundland to Ireland for electricity and 200 million cubic feet of gas cemented by a mutual defense cooperation pact. Combined, these deals redirect about 19% of Canada's current energy exports away from the United States. The impact is structural, not just financial. Midwest and Gulf Coast refineries are configured for Canadian heavy crude and cannot switch to domestic light crude without billions in modifications and years of work. Similarly, Northeast and Midwest heating customers now face a future with no immediate alternative for their natural gas needs. The market reaction was immediate and violent. West Texas Intermediate crude surged by 1,260 per barrel, a 10.4% increase, while Midwest natural gas futures spiked 22.7%. U.S. refinery stocks collapsed, with Valero dropping 18.4% and Marathon Petroleum falling 21.3%, wiping out billions in market value in a matter of hours. Trading was halted twice as circuit breakers struggled to stem the panic. At 11:45 in the morning, a visibly agitated President Trump held an impromptu press conference in the Rose Garden, declaring the move the most ungrateful act in the history of international relations. He announced a 50% tariff on all remaining Canadian imports in a national security investigation. But energy analysts warned these measures would fail to stop Canada and only harm American consumers further. Carney's choice of partners was a masterstroke. By choosing America's top allies in Asia and Europe, he used the U.S. alliance network as a shield. The United States cannot easily punish its closest friends for buying Canadian energy without fracturing the global order. Three scenarios now loom over the future. In the first, Trump quietly drops tariffs within 30 days and negotiates with Canada on equal terms to restore stability. In the second, the conflict escalates into a tense standoff where NATO fractures and China exploits the division, sending energy prices to 2008 levels. In